granniopteryx, she knows the truth, she's linking every link.
Hello. So I'm going to play you a short clip from the Sky News Sunday morning show, which was broadcast on the 14th of September. That is the day after the Unite the Kingdom rally. And in that clip, you'll see that's the clip here. You'll hear Trevor Phillips, one of the few nationally respected broadcasters who hasn't been arrested for an offence of an unpleasant nature, talking about the sort of people who went on the Unite the Kingdom rally. And he does it with such subtle condescension that you might hardly notice the stiletto being slipped between your ribs. But then Mr. Phillips is a consummate professional. I'm Granniopteryx. Please like this video. Please share it. Please subscribe to my channel. Also, if you want to help me financially, you can do that. All the links are in the description. But the best thing you can do for my channel and for this video is to click like. Click it now, as I keep on saying. If you end up not liking it, that's not a problem. You can unclick it a bit later on and you're all set. Okay, let's get on with talking about Trevor Phillips' attitude to the non-lanyard classes. Okay, so this is the cut down version of the clip. And this cut down version got a lot of approval from various people, but that was the cut down version. Let's have a listen to it.
The most alarming aspect of the event was just how normal the vast majority of the marches were. I spent an hour or two amongst them, and my own impression was that they were mostly the sort of people you'd meet in a country pub or in half-time queue for the loo at football or at a concert. There was a sprinkling of black and brown faces, and the event was brought to a close by a gospel group singing Jerusalem. All that must worry the traditional mass parties, Labour and Conservatives, now polling at less than 40% between them. They're draining support to parties like Reform and the Greens. And yet, a man recently out of jail, condemned as an extremist thug by most mainstream media outlets, can rally a demo the size of the entire population of Cambridge or Blackpool. A feat you couldn't imagine either Sir Keir Starmer or Kemi Badenoch pulling off anytime soon. Perhaps the people are sending us all a message. Let's see if anyone at Westminster's listening.
All right. That was the clip that has been doing most of the circulating, and it's got a lot of approval from people like Catherine Birbalsingh. I'm not criticising them in any way, but let's have a look at the whole clip, should we?
It's quite possible that the person most taken aback by the huge turnout at yesterday's Unite the Kingdom demonstration was its organiser, the hard-right activist known as Tommy Robinson.
Okay, let's just start with that, should we? The person most surprised by the numbers who turned up. Does anyone watching this video think that Tommy Robinson was in the least surprised by the numbers that turned up? He knows what the people are thinking. Unlike people like Trevor Phillips, the only people who would have been surprised would have been people like Trevor Phillips. And he's hard right, known as, he's under an alias. So how many film stars who have different names from their original family names would Trevor Phillips refer to as, I can't think of anything right now, but I'm sure you can fill in the blanks yourself.
150,000 people.
And that's a flat out lie to start with. I know it was more than 150,000. I was there. And I have another rally to compare it with, because I was at the anti-Semitism rally just slightly less than a week before. Right, so he's telling a lie here. Now, he may not realise it's a lie. He's just accepted the BBC figures. But he's not interested in changing those figures.
Into central London, most carrying national flags, the Union Jack, the Cross of St George, even the Scottish saltire, protesting about immigration, about free speech, and about the decline of Christianity. There was some fearsome rhetoric, including from Elon Musk, who called for the overthrow of the British government.
Okay, so he's concentrating not on the positive aspects of the speeches or the general atmosphere. He's trying to make you uneasy at this point. Fearsome rhetoric, revolution, in other words. So this is all part of the shape of the argument he's forming to give you, or rather to give the Sky viewers, an uneasy feeling about it. It's being run by a hard right man who is known as, and there's 150,000 people here, and fearsome rhetoric. Can you see how the little bits are stacking up, although you might not notice them while you're just, watching it while you're having your Sunday morning coffee or whatever.
The margins, there was some hooliganism. But I think that for those...
At the margins, there was some hooliganism. He's talking about that. He's not talking about the probably nearly 1 million people, maybe more, who weren't being hooligans. Not mentioning that.
Who oppose Robinson and his ilk. The most alarming aspect...
Robinson and his ilk. Not people like Robinson. You use that and his ilk when you're being disparaging. But it's all very subtle.
Aspect of the event was just how normal the vast majority...
Oh, and did you hear that? Just how normal. There was I'm going to take that slightly back so you can hear it again. He was genuinely surprised at how normal the people were on that march.
It was just how normal the vast majority of the marches were.
And yet that was still too much for Sky News. The fact that some of the words were capable of being interpreted in a positive way. Normal, for instance, even though there was this little tinge of surprise in Philip's voice.
I spent an hour or two amongst them, and my own impression...
He spent an hour or two with the common people.
...was that they were mostly the sort of people you'd meet in a country pub or in half-time queue for the loo at football.
Right, yeah. So this is where he thought of these working people. They were the sort of people you'd meet down the pub, country pub, of course, or in a queue for a football match, to go to the toilets. Do you see how he's, at the same time as he's appearing to be reasonable, he's cutting them down? I was there. I never go to football matches, and I very rarely go to pubs. But he didn't think people like me would be there. That's not what he was seeing, although there were people like me there. He just wasn't seeing them.
Or at a concert. There was a sprinkling of black and brown faces, and the event was brought...
A sprinkling of black and brown faces, just to let you know, not too many, because this is a white thing led by a far-right activist.
...brought to a close by a gospel group singing Jerusalem. All that must worry the traditional mass parties.
I'll bet it worries Trevor Phillips as well. And it certainly worried Sky News, didn't it? Because according to James Melville, they've deleted it. As subtly undercutting as it is, it's still too near the truth for Sky News.
Burned Conservatives, now polling at less than 40% between them. They're draining support to parties like Reform and the Greens.
Yeah, maybe.
And yet, a man recently out of jail.
All right, here we go. A man recently out of jail, let's say he's a criminal.
Condemned as an extremist thug by most mainstream media outlets.
That's really egregious. Condemned as a thug by most mainstream media outlets. So he's saying everybody says this guy is a criminal and a thug. That's all he's saying. He's not saying anything about the fact that so many people don't condemn him, Tommy Robinson, as a thug. It's just astonishing. He's a very intelligent man. And you see how he's done it. So the people who don't follow Tommy Robinson, they'll have their prejudices confirmed by what he says. And they'll get this slight feeling of unease about his warning that they are taking over the country at the same time as he's apparently being very reasonable about it.
Can rally a demo the size of the entire population of Cambridge or Blackpool?
I'd say it was the entire population of Cambridge and Blackpool, although I don't know what their entire populations are. But I'm assuming he has the information that they must be about 150,000. There were more than that.
You couldn't imagine either Sir Keir Starmer or Kemi Badenoch pulling off anytime soon.
Right, that's the first thing he said that's actually straight out true and reasonable. But it's a warning. It's not a praise. Look how the far right are taking over our country. However much he's phrased it so that it doesn't appear to be too hysterical. That's the general impression he's trying to give.
So people are sending us all a message. Let's see if anyone at Westminster's listening.
You see, one good thing about my participation in the anti-Semitism rally, which I went to on Sunday the 7th, the best thing about that whole thing was that I know that there were around 70,000 people on that rally. And that's the general agreement of all, including the BBC. So I got a pretty good idea of what 70,000 people looks like in a march through the streets of London. I was there. And although we weren't, in the second march, we weren't walking through exactly the same streets. The destination was in the same part of London, Westminster. And the BBC said there were 100,000 people there, a figure repeated by Phillips, or did he say 150,000? I don't know. Now, I want to tell you, 100,000 isn't that much more than 70,000. And I can tell you, there's absolutely no way it was 100,000 or even 150,000. I'm not sure how many people were in the same fortunate position that I was in, that is, attending two marches within a few days of each other. I shouldn't think I was the only one, but I certainly haven't seen anything by anyone else. And I am here to bear witness, eyewitness, that the Unite the Kingdom demo was on a completely different order of magnitude from the 70,000 people who turned up at the rally I attended on September the 7th. It was a very successful, good, peaceful and nice rally, very friendly. But that rally last Saturday, at the very least, there was 1 million. And that was what I could see from my very low vantage point. Trevor Phillips said he was surprised that everybody there seemed so normal. The sort of people you'd see down the pub, he said, or at half-time and football matches, he said. Well, I was there, and I don't go to football matches, and I very rarely go to the pub, but he still had that class thing. They're Tommy Robinson fans, so they must spend their time in pubs or at football matches. I don't know what he thought he was going to find there. Perhaps a bunch of swivel-eyed, foaming-mouthed, knife-wielding maniacs. Oh no, I'm thinking of some other group. Anyway, I was there on September the 13th, and I was taking videos, and I can tell you now that 100,000 people was nowhere near the right number. And that will be obvious to anyone who'd seen the aerial photos. And Sir Trevor was there as well, and he must have seen that too. But, as we all know, the MSM doesn't count. But then, we knew that anyway, didn't we? Till next time. You can help my channel by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. That's quite important. And by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels and to donation methods are in the description. But the best way you can help is simply by clicking like and notify. Thank you.